how Diablo franchise parts was endorsed, beloved, was dissatisfying or satisfying to the viewers. What was so negative about Diablo 2 that Diablo 1 fans disliked? And here is the response from ChatGPT. 4 main reasons that was mentioned is, first, the art style. It's too colorful, too cartoonish, and in comparison to Diablo 1, it really reflects too of a cartoony style for players to explore, and it should not be a follow-up from Diablo 1 series going to Diablo 2. Secondly, the story was not so intense and not so coherent and focused as Diablo 1 game. And speaking about the gameplay, it really seemed like the gameplay and classes was repetitive, and it becomes too easy and too grindy at some point, and itemization, as more of the items you can get, the game becomes easier and easier. As looking at the comparison from the original Diablo 1 game, it looks like this would be an easier version of the game. But this is a look from Diablo 1 to Diablo 2. So we can see that Diablo fans of Diablo 1 dislike Diablo 2. And I know myself, I like Diablo 2. I played up till now since I'm waiting for Diablo 4 release. And yeah, this is crazy, right? And I asked this question ChatGPT, as normally those are the things you would ask, right? Or not, well, who knows? And here are the responses. And it felt really odd looking at those. As you can see, the first point, it looks like simplified gameplay was mentioned, as gameplay is too easy for players to play, and fewer skill trees, less customization. Of course, if you remember, Diablo 3 had an auction house for players to use. That created more of an incentive and player-driven market. However, that not really end up well in the long run, but nevertheless, it was mentioned. As we can see, it was a groundbreaking process that was not welcomed by the fan base, as it was not a direct clone of Diablo 2. And looking at the art style, it's all the same, right? It says that it's too colorful, too cartoonish, lacking grit and gothic atmosphere. Storytelling is about the same. And hey, look at this point. Number 5 is the point where it says that there's no longer single player type of play style for you, as the only way that you can experience the game would be if you log on to the game, basically purchase the game and play it online. Therefore, there's no way for you to modify the game, there's no way for you to have a single player campaign or just play the game without the internet. Let's see if there's anything more. And I'm not too big of a fan of Diablo 3 myself. I do play Diablo 3 occasionally from time to time, but this is not my cup of tea. But nevertheless, the game's great. And we all know that. Oh Lord Almighty ChatGPT, could you tell us what kind of things was separating Diablo 4 franchise from all of the other franchises, and what kind of things are very same when it comes to what kind of things Diablo fan base dislikes about the game. And these are the responses that I received from ChatGPT. And I'm gonna read it out loud. Is it true that some fans of Diablo franchise can be critical of new releases, and it is not unique to Diablo? Many long-running game franchises have passionate fan base who hold strong opinions about each new release, which is absolutely true. In terms of repetitive, dissatisfactory elements across the franchise, some common complaints from fans have included simplification of the game mechanic, changes to the art style, issues with storytelling and plot coherence, balancing issues, especially in terms of difficulty and itemization, changes to the core mechanics or features that are not uncertain or detrimental to the overall experience. And can you see the resemblance looking back into Diablo 2 and 3? And if we look into Diablo 4, we can see that game developers promised to bring back part of those things and return more to the gothic, darker style of the game. There's gonna be a focus on character customization rather than the skills, as Diablo 3 focused entirely on. And the story involves conflict, greater emphasis on multiplayer, but some of the core elements will not be included and will not be added, as I think we all need to understand that each of the game will create some sort of critic base reaction and climax over some things that they honestly dislike and harness as a devil, but some things gonna be perished and cherished. In addition to that, I have asked ChatGPT, well, Diablo fans basically hate each new release of Diablo game. Will we end up in the game that no one's gonna play? I have the numbers basically for you in front of your eyes. Basically, I have asked ChatGPT what were the sales numbers, so we could show either the fan base is growing or declining, and these are the figures. So basically, for first release Diablo 1, which was the original sold copy of the game, it sold over 2.5 million copies of the game in 2001. As this is a physical copy, I believe it was hard for ChatGPT to find any sort of relevant resources or source material for us to showcase. But yeah, this is 2.5 million copies. So let's imagine that this is like 2.5 million players liking the game, or just at least 1 million of a fan base that was growing and created need for additional game. And that happened. So Diablo 2 was released. I'm not too sure when it was announced, but it was released in year 2000, and in year 2000 it was sold. It sold 4 million copies in the first year. This is huge numbers, right? But what happens next? As the game was successful, even though all of the dissatisfaction of the Diablo 1 fans, right, the 1 million like hardcore fans, the fan base grew to over well, even more. Over 10 years, the game was sold 17 million copies, which is amazing. Like I don't know, this is huge numbers, unbelievably huge numbers, and it created a huge player base of players that are up till this day fans of Diablo 4, Diablo 2 game, and still holding it tight that it is the best game as there is. There was additional expansion. I don't have the expansion numbers with me, but the game has gained a massive popularity. The numbers are not seen anywhere else as per my knowledge, and this is just extremely high numbers of sales. Now, when we're looking into Diablo 3, we can see the resemblance that, well, Diablo 3 was not such a light game, right? Too colorful, too easy, too lack of customization. However, we can see that Diablo 3 in 2012 sold over 3.5 million copies in the first 24 hours. That is similar to Diablo 2 first year release, but in the first week it surpassed basically the sales, and in 3 years, yeah, that's the number. In 3 years, it got over 30 million copies sold. So just imagine how big of the fan base is, and it doesn't really matter that, and it doesn't mean that player base of Diablo 1 or Diablo 2 player base has stopped purchasing the game or stopped loving the game. That's nothing like that. It just means that the fan base of Diablo franchise, people who love gore, who love dark style, who love customizations and games that are action RPG style, they're purchasing the game and being involved in the lore and the franchise. And of course we all dislike some things, but overall we can see that fan base is growing, and what fan base wants is a new game. As I have asked ChatGPT about potential sales, but there are no numbers announced, so it's obvious that such things will not be shown or disclosed. But nevertheless, I believe this will be a huge success. And yeah, this is what kind of things we can expect from Diablo 4. I don't know. Let's hope for Diablo 4 to be as hard game as Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 was, and we will have as as cool graphics and the skill animations as there was in Diablo 3, just a lot more enhanced, better, so on and so forth. It's all good, we all feel the same way. Some people love it, some people don't like certain things about the game. But despite all of the differences, we all love Diablo franchise and we will continue on supporting the game. And we know we can shape the game to be the best game there is. If not Diablo 4, then possibly Diablo 5, 6, 7, or we will see. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.